Probably too early a list of collected wonders of the world was made. In addition to these great buildings on Earth requires such beautiful objects as the Grand Canyon and Victoria Falls. But that's not the point. Well, scientists are still wondering how some places and locations were able to form naturally. Sure, you already from the title of this video that we will tell you today, and some unusual places in the world that science simply cannot understand. Sleeping village of Kalachi. Inhabitants of the village of Kalachi in Kazakhstan recently experienced a very strange epidemic. They could literally fall asleep in any situation, even walking or driving the road. They also suffer from memory loss of fatigue and hallucinations. It is worth noting that this phenomenon affects women and men of all ages. The government of Kazakhstan recommends the evacuation of residents from the countryside because scientists are not able to account for this type of phenomenon until now. According to one theory, the inhabitants of the village of Kalachi suffer from coverage, since there is a uranium mine near the village. However, the blood test of the inhabitants refuted this theory because no trace of flow was detected. It should also be mentioned that the inhabitants of the neighboring village do not suffer from coma, although it is also close to the mine. Voice city of Taoos, a buzzing sound at playback frequency or a buzzing sound with sources that cannot be determined. Maybe he was annoying and driving him crazy. This is a sound that you all know about what happens, for example, a mower working in the distance or interference on TV sets. Until you find yourself and eliminate the sources of this noise, you may find that the brain was about to explode. In general, this is not a pleasant feeling. Fortunately, such cases are quite rare. Imagine now the nightmare of the residents of Taoos, a city located in the state of New Mexico in the USA since the early 90s. Many residents of this city have complained that they constantly hear low-frequency rumbling anywhere in the city. That's why the locals literally went crazy. For 20 years, scientists have tried to determine the source of the sound, but unfortunately no results. Mysterious circles in Namibia. This unusual phenomenon occurs in the steppes of Namibia in South Africa. We are talking about circles carved in the grass that appear at specific intervals. The shape of the circles is almost perfect, and their diameter is from 3 to 20 meters. Scientists cannot explain the reason for the appearance of these circles or why this shape is a circle and not something else. It is interesting that nothing increases in circles, which is why scientists have tried to look for the causes of the phenomenon here. But their guesses and theories have failed. In 2013, environmentalist Norbert Jurgens suggested that anything could be due to deadlines, but 2 years later biologist Walter Schinkel conducted an experiment that refuted Jurgens' assumptions. Boiling Shanay-Timpishka River. Deep in the Amazon jungle flows a river 6.4 kilometers from all other rivers on Earth. Shanay-Timpishka has a very high water temperature. It is so hot that every animal that enters the river is cooked alive. At first, the animals come out their eyes, and when the pain becomes unbearable and prevents them from escaping, they sink while swallowing boiling water. As a result, they literally cook. Yes, it's terrible. The average water temperature in the river reaches as much as 91 degrees Celsius. Scientists do not understand this phenomenon because usually this water temperature is observed in rivers flowing near volcanoes. Here the nearest volcano is 700 kilometers from Shanay-Timpishka. Scientists suggest that there must be a hot spring under the river bottom from which water joins the river water, and hence its temperature. Hessdalen lights. Almost every night, the inhabitants of the Hessdalen Valley in Norway observe a mysterious phenomenon that scientists have been thinking about for years. Bright dancing lights appear in the sky, flicker, change their shape, and then disappear to come back the next night. Scientists have been studying this phenomenon in veins since the first appearance of lights in 1930. The inhabitants of the valley began to create various theories on this subject. According to one of them, the lights appear in the sky because the lake in the valley is radioactive and emits into the atmosphere radon particles that break down in the sky create light effects. According to another theory, the lights appear in the sky because the Earth in Hessdalen is full of sulfuric acid. According to scientists, sulfur can interact with water and as a result of the reaction lights appear in the sky. However, the exact cause could not be determined. Thunderstorms over Catatumbo. In western Venezuela on the Catatumbo River, storms rage that almost never cease. The storm begins every day at 7 in the evening and lasts up to 10 hours. This phenomenon is repeated for 260 days a year. Nobody knows the exact cause of this anyhow natural but strange phenomenon. According to accepted theory, storms are somehow related to uranium found in nearby swamps. However, scientists are not sure. According to them, the storms in Catatumbo arise because of the unusual shape of the mountains over which the warm mountain winds and cold from the Andes flow. Then the winds quickly merge with the strongly steaming mountain river and methane from nearby oil fields. This is how storms arise. But this is not the final version because the storms over Catatumbo are much more mysterious than it seems. For example, once in 2010, the thunderstorm inexplicably ceased earlier than usual. It would seem that there will be no more storms, but after 6 weeks in Catatumbo there were lightning again. Since then, storms have continued to recur regularly. Movile Cave. In southeastern Romania there is a cave hidden from the light and the outside world for 5.5 million years. The atmosphere in it is radically different from the one known on Earth. The cave was accidentally found by workers who were building a power plant nearby. While testing the soil, they came across a route that led to one of the most mysterious places on the planet. If it passes through a narrow entrance to the cave, you can get to a number of tunnels from where it goes to a room filled with sulfuric acid. Because of this, the air in the cave is toxic. It abounds in hydrogen sulfide at a concentration of 1,000 times greater than on the surface of the Earth. The strangest thing about all of this is that the whole ecosystem was created in the cave, the elements of which were able to adapt to life in sulfuric acid. Scientists have found as many as 33 new species in the cave that do not exist anywhere else. It is believed that these organisms survived by eating foam that forms on the stones in the cave. Double Casorzo tree. In the nature of the Italian region of Pivo in Italy, there is one unusual place where a cherry tree grows. It looks almost the same as other healthy cherry trees, except that it grows from another tree. In fact, this phenomenon sometimes occurs in various parts of the world. It happens that from one tree grows another tree like a parasite. In all cases, however, these parasitic trees are not large, but rather stunted and quickly wither. Meanwhile, the double Casorzo tree in Italy consists of 2 fully valuable healthy trees, each of which stretches its branches for 5 meters. Nobody understands how this happened. Karachai Lake. There were many nuclear facilities in the USSR, much of which was poorly planned, and therefore dangerous. Near one of these types of former facilities in the Chelyabinsk region is the Karachai Lake. There is more radioactive material in this lake than anywhere else in the world. It is so dangerous that you can die within an hour if it happens at its edge. The area around Lake Karachai is more radioactive than Chernobyl. In 1957, an accident at a nuclear power plant near a lake caused an explosion that released radioactive particles within a radius of 23,000 kilometers. Therefore, it was decided to fill the lake with concrete to avoid further disaster. Despite this, the area still remains dangerous, unstable, and heavily polluted. Devil's Kettle Waterfall. The waterfall with an interesting name, Devil's Kettle in Minnesota, is one of the most mysterious places on Earth. Interestingly, the waterfall crosses the Brew River and splits into 2 streams at some point. One goes directly to Lake Verkney and the other doesn't know where. Scientists do not know exactly where it ends and where the water gets. They tried to add paint to the water to see which part of the stream would eventually become colored. Nothing of that. In any case, according to the laws of physics, water must flow out somewhere, and its flow can be traced even if it leads underground. For this waterfall, the laws of physics apparently don't work. It is not clear how this phenomenon arose. Perhaps it is a foreign work or parallel universe. We can only guess. Which of these places seemed most unusual and mystical to you? Write in the comments if you liked it. You can like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon to not miss interesting materials.